My dear and respected and distinguished academicians, dear parents, students, and my friends, today I am giving a thought to all of you on the subject NEET UG 2026 fiasco. Why the National Testing Agency should be scrapped and why the educational federalism should be restored and why India must return medical entrance administration to the states. My friends, today this is an issue that has shaken the confidence of millions of young students and Indians and raised a very serious constitutional question before the nation, whether the centralized examination system under the National Testing Agency has failed beyond repair and whether the time has come to restore educational authority to the states in the true spirit of federalism. My friends, the cancellation of NEET UG 2026 after a massive paper leak scandal is not merely an examination controversy. It is an institutional collapse. More than 22 lakh students have been pushed into uncertainty, anxiety, and emotional trauma because of the failure of one centralized agency. The question before the country today is not simply whether a paper leaked. The real question is, can the future of millions of students be entrusted to a centralized structure that repeatedly fails despite possessing enormous power, technology, and administrative control? My friends, education occupies a very unique place in our constitutional framework. Originally, education was placed in the state list because the framers of the constitution understood India's diversity, the languages, the cultures, linguistic diversity, regional diversity, cultural diversity, and educational diversity. That's why the constitutional framers have given us federalism. Then, during the emergency period, through the 42nd constitutional amendment, the education was shifted to concurrent list. Even then, the constitution never intended that the state should become powerless spectators while the union monopolizes educational administration. Concurrent list means shared responsibility, not centralized domination. Unfortunately, the NEET and NTA regime has converted cooperative federalism into an administrative centralization. State run the schools, state fund the public hospitals, states maintain medical colleges, states administer public health system. But when it comes to admissions into medical institutions, the states are increasingly reduced to silent observers. This is neither healthy federalism nor democratic governance. Friends, the defenders of the NEET originally promised three things: transparency, merit, and elimination of corruption. But what has actually happened? Instead of eliminating corruption has become nationalized. Instead of preventing malpractice, centralized examinations have created enormous financial incentives for organized criminal syndicates and coaching mafias. Instead of reducing inequality, the system has strengthened urban coaching culture and marginalized rural and government school students. Today, lakhs of poor and middle class parents are forced into unbearable financial burden because medical admissions have become dependent not merely on education but on expensive coaching ecosystems concentrated in metropolitan cities. Can we honestly call this equality? Can a rural student studying in Telugu medium or Tamil medium or Kannada government school compete equally with the students trained for years in corporate coaching factories? Uniformity is not always equality. The Constitution does not merely speak of formal equality, it speaks of substantive justice. Friends, the NEET crisis is not accidental, it is structural. We saw the impersonation scam in Tamil Nadu. We saw the humiliating frisking incidents in Kerala. We witnessed the grace marks controversy in 2024. And now we are seeing the catastrophe of 2026 paper leak scandal. Every year, assurances are given. Every year, committees are appointed. Every year, reforms are promised. Yet, the same failures repeat. This clearly shows that the problem is not merely technological, it is institutional. The National Testing Agency has lost public credibility. and public trust. And once public trust collapses, institutions cannot survive merely through official notifications and press conferences. Friends, let us honestly compare the present system with earlier state-based models. Before NEET, states conducted their own examinations. For example, MSET in Andhra Pradesh, CSET, and in Tamil Nadu, TNPCE, and in Maharashtra, MHT, CET, and others. Were those systems perfect? No, but they possessed one major strength: decentralized accountability. Question papers were stored in government treasuries under police security. District collectors supervised logistics. Local universities conducted examinations. Permanent professors formed flying squads. Transit distances were short. The risk was geographically fragmented. If a problem arose in one state, the entire nation did not collapse. Today, one breach anywhere means disaster everywhere. That is the danger of over centralization. Friends, Tamil Nadu model provides an important alternative constitutional vision. Tamil Nadu abolished entrance examinations and relied substantially on class 12 board marks. That model improved representation of rural students, government school students, backward communities, and scheduled castes and first generation learners. Most importantly, it eliminated the enormous market for paper leaks and solver gangs. This shows that merit cannot be narrowly defined through one centralized high pressure examination. A student's consistent academic performance over 2 years may often reflect genuine merit more accurately than a single exam conducted under unequal social conditions. Friends, this debate is ultimately about the constitutional philosophy. India is not a unitary state, my friends. India is a union of states. Federalism is a part of the basic structure of the constitution. The framers never intended administrative over centralization in every sphere of public life. The states are not municipalities of the union government. They are constitutional entities with democratic legitimacy. If states are competent to run universities, hospitals, and public health systems, they are certainly competent to conduct entrance examinations and regulate admissions. Therefore, the time has come for serious reforms. I firmly believe India must now consider dismantling National Testing Agency in its present form, restoring the authority to the states for state quota admissions, permitting state-specific admission models, and evolving a genuinely cooperative federal structure in higher education. If necessary, the union may conduct a limited examination only for all India quota seats, but the present system of complete central monopolization has failed. Friends, this is not a demand against national unity. It is a demand for constitutional balance. This is not opposition to merit. It is opposition to centralized injustice. This is not resistance to reform. It is resistance to repeated institutional failure without accountability. Ultimately, education must empower the students, not traumatize them. Institutions must inspire trust, not fear, and governments must strengthen federal democracy, not weaken it. The NEET UG 2026 crisis should become a turning point in Indian educational history. The nation must now decide: do we continue with a centralized system that repeatedly collapses and destroys public confidence? Or do we restore constitutional federalism, democratic accountability, and social justice in education? I believe that the answer lies in trusting the states, respecting the diversity, and restoring the federal spirit of the Constitution by authorizing and by giving the power to the states to conduct entrance examination in the medical field. Thank you. Thank you very much.